Hello and good morning. This is Sri Iyer from PGurus with your daily update with Sridhar. Sridhar Chityala ji, namaskar and good morning to you.
Namaskar and very good morning to you.
Sridhar ji, let's start off with the Senate confirmation hearings of Amy Barrett. Now, if you cast your mind back to 4 years ago in 2016, Barack Obama also tried to get his nominee nominated to the Supreme Court. But at that time, the Republicans were able to filibuster that from happening. What is different this time, and what do you think are the chances that Amy Barrett could be on the Supreme Court?
Well, I think first and foremost, this ding-dong battle goes on between the two sides. You know, the same rules don't apply to them because it's just a political kind of posturing that goes on. It also depends on the number of votes that you have, and whom you are able to kind of sway in moving the judgment. So my view is that all these things would turn topsy-turvy as they proceed with the hearings and come close to the voting and nomination. We're not too far away from the elections. It's about 2 weeks process this is going to be. By the time they get to that, there would be at least hope to be a reasonable outcome. There would also be outcomes on the Senate races. So my view is that it will run its course and there would be an outcome. That's. But whether the outcome is going to be in favor of Amy or against, we don't know. That would be very much driven by political sentiments and what happens. But otherwise, as far as the process is concerned, they're following the due process. And I think President made it very clear in the hearings, which is to say, I'm elected for 4 years. I'm going to be here till all of this year. So I'll continue. The Senate is going to be as well. So these are elected government organizations, and so the process continues.
Now, thanks for that update for on Amy Barrett, sir. I apologize. I think now we are back on normal technical stuff. Everything is fine. Let's hope that the line doesn't drop again. Now, let's move on to stimulus. Now, the stimulus, we started out with Trump offering 1.8 trillion, and then somehow something has changed since then. Can you please walk us through what happened, because this is where we left off on the stimulus spending, I think, yesterday. So what happened since then, sir?
We started with 2.2
On the Democrat side, yes.
the Democrat side, 1.6 on the Republican side. Then we had then the Trump administration came up with 25 billion and 122 billion. Then subsequently they stalled the discussions, and then they came up with 1.8 billion. This is Republicans. And then they said, the president said, we need a much more comprehensive and bigger stimulus package. And Nancy Pelosi said, I don't think we are converging, and I don't think we have a time. So basically, this posturing has mitigated the need for coming to a resolution around the stimulus for the core sectors of the economy, which is waiting for this thing to happen. So what did they do? Where they are right now, they're saying, okay, there is about $32 billion or $30 billion left in the kitty from the past program, and let us direct all of that money towards the SME sector and roll out, because that's the program which had not fully spent the allocated capital. So I think that's where we are. Whether it'll change again today, we don't know, but I'm sure that something is going to cut loose. But having said that, we are today on the 13th. We are less than 20 days from the election, so there's time left. And the discussions continue between Mnuchin and Pelosi.
Well, the most important thing here is what the electorate thinks, because if no stimulus deal gets passed by November 3rd, then the decision time is here in front of them. They have to make a call as to who will be able to effectively pass that. And I don't know where the sword will fall. Will it fall on the Democrats or will it fall on the Republicans? We don't know. We have to listen to what the people on the street are saying. Certainly, it does affect and hurt some people. So I don't know. What is your gut feeling, sir? How do you think, if nothing happens by November 3rd, who do you think will be blamed?
Okay, just to echo your sentiment, you talk to the regulators. We discussed it yesterday, Neil Kashkari, the Fed governor, and also the man who ran the TARP program under Head Paulson. Then you have the Jerome Powell. Then you have the worldwide, everybody's saying stimulus is needed and good because we are pandemic. Then you have the businesses and communities saying you need the stimulus because we still don't have normalcy in sight. Then we have institutions, which is banks saying that, we need much more coordinated active mechanism. Otherwise, not only the recovery is going to be flat. And we discussed what has triggered Q3 versus Q2. So, in my view, that one of the things that could happen, knowing this is purely my personal speculation, knowing the mindset of Trump, he's going to do something within the next week or so, right? This is my pure speculation. Nothing is there. He's not going to stay still. Okay, he's going to say, okay, I'm going to pass an executive order and do this. Something like this is going to happen. Then what would follow that? The Democrats would say, oh, we don't want to be left behind and be beholden to this issue hurting us in the politics. So you may see some, active engagement, re-engagement again. Whether there's time left to pass it, we don't know. But there would be an outcome before December 3rd. Sorry, before December 3rd, yeah. November 3rd, sorry.
Sir, if you could just indulge me and wrap up the news on Europe and Asia, 1 minute each, that would be great. Politics.
Yeah. Politics. Okay, I think in Europe, they're still continuing to deal with coronavirus. So that's one. Britain cases have increased. France has reported. Spain has reported. So you have increased COVID situation in Europe. Number one. On the other political side, there's always this war that's somewhere someone is fighting a war in Europe. So now the latest to the addition is the Armenian and Azerbaijan, on and off war that is going on and notwithstanding the fact that Russia, US, EU all had a meeting to see whether there's a successful resolution, but it is still there lurking in the background. Then the third thing that is going on is the lack of resolution around what they would do with the poisoning case in Russia. It seems to take a very consistent kind of pattern, which is namely when it comes to Russia, they make all hue and cry and then it peters out. As far as Asia is concerned, sorry, you wanted to ask me a question?
The Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim.
Yeah, Anwar Ibrahim. Yeah. So coming to Malaysia, that the man who was thrown out, political cases hoisted, put behind bars, is now back after Mahathir controversial kind of phase. He's now presented claims to the prince that he has 122 members supporting him out of the 222. So he has a majority. The king has called all different parties. The Mahathir's party basically has said it will stay neutral and not sway one way or the other. But the fact that he is back on the scene is a reflection that, in politics, nothing goes away. And he is a good conservative guy, good politician. So, hopefully Malaysia will see resurgence. Just staying on the Malaysia, the Chinese fishing boats, and they kind of tripped into the Malaysian waters, which is Malacca Straits, and Malaysians kind of chased them away. So Malaysia has, anywhere where there is political instability and confusion, you can see the hand of China trying to test the tenacity of the defense of sovereignty.
And there has been some infrastructure build up on Indian side at Ladakh. Could you please apprise our viewers on what's happening there, sir?
I think that the India continues to do some extraordinary work in terms of what they're doing. They clearly recognize that this is not going away. That's number one. Number two, they also are saying, okay, we are not going to step back. This is the time for us to push the pedal and reclaim all the land that has been, incorrectly or, surreptitiously taken away by the Chinese. So they've built now somewhere close to 40, 45 bridges, small bridges, which interconnects the very complex region of Ladakh. And the continued expansion of the infrastructure is a reflection. And the more and more troops and more weaponry moving into that area is a reflection that India is going to be there to fight it out. Again, yesterday we talked about it. Mike Pompeo saying more than 60,000 Chinese troops have been amassed around the region. whether it is a deterrence or whether it is a show for internal politics consumption within China because they are getting outnumbered everywhere. We don't know, but it's very clear both sides are unwilling to yield on this matter.
Sir, we need to do a little bit of catch up on other items today. Let's look at economy. Now, what is happening with the United Kingdom? Is it also leaning towards negative interest rates?
Right now, I think that the general speculation is that the UK has to prepare itself, notwithstanding this complexity of Brexit. Whether you cover it on the political side or whether you cover it on the economic side, there's still that Brexit exit issue that is going on. So the central bank governor has indicated it's time for the Britain to accept that negative rates are looming in the horizon and to get organized, and that would be quite harsh because there's a hugely well established pension system in United Kingdom, right? And when you have negative rates, it's going to have consequences in terms of the balance sheet side of the government. So therefore, it's a very and also there are annuity programs, etc. How that's all going to play out in a consumer confidence point of view is a big question mark. And adding to what HSBC basically indicated, the world is flattening, the recovery is flattening, so you need to do something. So to counter the central bank's move, HSBC is saying, I need as much money as United States if UK has to sustain.
For those of you who don't know the expansion of HSBC, it's Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation, I believe. Hong Kong Shanghai is correct. So this is a very colorful past, 2008 series, crisis and so on. Let's not go there today because we still have a few more things to cover. On the markets have still baked in the feeling that something on stimulus is going to happen, isn't it?
The market is baked in. The stimulus is inevitable, irrespective of whether it is blue or red. Leading the sway on the presidential outcome. In fact, yesterday, most of the pundits in the market believe that the market drivers is going to be driven by the vaccine of COVID rather than who is going to be at the helm, right? So stimulus and COVID are the two important factors, of which stimulus is certain, COVID vaccine date unknown, political outcome unknown, but the markets are moving. And two major institutions revealed, if I can spend another 5 seconds. Two major institutions announced their earnings because the earnings seasons are most notably JP Morgan. It's substantial $30 billion in revenues, earnings, and of which, $9 billion in profits. And they have reduced the risk provisions for the second half relative to the first half. Now we are in pandemic. So what they're saying is that the balance sheet is performing well. There is no stress on the consumer and the small business or the corporate side. So they don't need to make more provisions. So they assume the next quarter to be normalized and the year to be favorable, which is a very unusual endorsement of not only the stimulus, but the state of the US economy.
Viewers on COVID, Regeneron, mark this name and follow it, because that was allegedly what was given to President Trump. And allegedly, one of the good things about it is it's something that builds your immune system for up to 2 months. So just mark that name. Let's see if we can revisit that in the next few days. Lastly, on tech, Disney is making a major move into online streaming, isn't it?
Yeah. Disney doesn't want to be left behind. Generally, it is the leader of the pack as far as the media and entertainment business go. They have dominated the theme park, they've dominated the television, they've dominated the in-home entertainment, right? So there used to be separate businesses. The fact that the COVID has resulted in more direct consumption, so they have reorganized their business and made it into a one single vertical unit with very specific focus around direct streaming consumption. And they see that as a huge opportunity, be it on the media side or be it on the content side or be it on the distribution, which is the consumption side. They feel you have to have a vertically integrated business to drive the outcome and compete with people like Netflix, compete with people like Amazon, because Amazon has a decent subscription. We don't know whether Microsoft and Google and Apple will. I mean, Apple. We also talked about Apple, extending the subscription as part of the package for one more year to see what happens.
Yes, and viewers, we are up to the end of our program today, and I request you all to subscribe to our channel. Please refer our channel to your family and friends. We would like to see you all hang out here. This is 15 minutes of pure gold, in my opinion, because it sets the stage for many to know what is coming down the pipeline in the next 24 hours. Thanks once again, Sridharji, and we'll be back tomorrow with latest news.
Namaskaram, and thank you so much. And have a wonderful day for those in US, and have a good evening for those in India.
Thank you, sir.